So today we're going to talk about limiting and excess reagents. You want to think of this concept as just following the recipe for a batch of cookies. So let's say the recipe we're going to follow requires 1 egg with 1 cup of flour, and that will yield or give us 1 batch of cookies. So let's say in your kitchen you actually have 2 eggs and 1 cup of flour. How many batches of cookies could you make? Well, if we look at one ingredient at a time, according to this ingredient, you could make 2 batches of cookies. 1 egg gives 1 batch, so 2 eggs should give 2 batches, right? But we can't just look at this ingredient. We also have to look at this one as well. So according to this ingredient, if we have 1 cup of flour, we can make 1 batch of cookies. So this ingredient is saying you can make 2 batches, and this ingredient is saying you can make 1 batch. So how many can you really make? Well, it's always going to be the smaller number. So we're only going to be able to make 1 batch of cookies. So which one's the excess reagent and which one's the limiting reagent? Well, we're going to use all of this up to make that 1 batch of cookies. So this is going to be our limiting reagent. We're not going to have any flour left. So that means the eggs must be our excess reagent. So if we use 1 cup of flour, we're only going to use 1 egg according to this recipe. So we're going to have 1 leftover egg, which means that would be the excess, right? So let's do another example. Let's say you have 3 eggs and 2 cups of flour. We'll use the same recipe. How many batches of cookies could you make? Again, we'll look at one at a time. So this is saying we can make 3 batches. This is saying we can make 2 batches, right? So again, it's going to be the smaller number. So we're going to make 2 batches of cookies. So which one's the limiting reagent and which one's the excess reagent? Well, again, we're going to use all of this up to make the 2 batches of cookies. So this is going to be our limiting reagent. Again, we're not going to have any flour left. So here, if we use 2 cups of flour, we're only going to use 2 eggs. So this would be our excess reagent, and we will have 1 egg left over, right? So let's say we want to change the recipe. So let's say instead of 1 cup of flour, we actually need 2 cups of flour, right? So what if we have 1 egg and 4 cups of flour? How many batches of cookies could we make? So with 1 egg, we can make 1 batch. So with 4 cups of flour, we could actually theoretically make 2 batches, right? So for every 1 batch of cookies, we need 2 cups of flour. So if we have 4 cups of flour, we could possibly make 2 batches. But this one is saying, what? You can only make 1 batch. 2 batches, you go with the lower number, you can only make 1 batch. But this time, who's the limiting reagent and who's the excess reagent? Well, we're going to end up using the 1 whole egg to make that 1 batch. We're not going to have any eggs left. So that would be our limiting reagent this time. So if we use 1 egg, we're going to use 2 cups of flour. We're going to have 2 cups of flour left over. So in this case, the cups of flour would be our excess reagent, right? So let's change the recipe again. So let's say 1 egg, 2 cups of flour. That will give us 2 batches of cookies now, right? So our numbers have changed a little bit, okay? So if we have 1 egg plus 3 cups of flour, how many batches are we going to get? Again, according to this ingredient, well, actually, sorry, 2 batches now, not 1 batch anymore. So this 1 egg will give us 2 batches. And then the 3 cups of flour, well, we're only going to use 2, right? Let's assume we can only follow kind of integer recipe, so we can't use fractions. So let's say we're only going to use 2 cups of flour, right? So that'll give us 2 batches, right? So actually, according to this, both of them, we're only going to get 2 batches in this case, right? But which one's excess and which one's limiting? So we're going to use all of that. That's going to be our limiting reagent. We're only going to use 2 cups of flour. That's going to be our excess reagent. We're going to have 1 cup of flour left over, right? So then let's try an actual chemistry example. So let's try our ingredient oxygen and hydrogen will yield or bake us some water, right? But this is not the correct recipe. So the correct recipe is actually 1, 2, 2, just like 1, 2, 2. So just think of this as your egg, one egg, and think of this as your 2 cups of flour, and think of the 2 H2Os, 2 waters, as your 2 batches of cookies, right? So if we have, let's see, 1 oxygen, and we actually have 4 hydrogens, how many waters could we make? Well, if we have 1 oxygen, we can make 2 waters. That's what this is saying. That's according to the recipe, right? So according to this, we have 4 cups of flour when we need 2 cups of flour. So we could theoretically make 4 batches of cookies because we have double this number. That's going to double that number. So if this is 4, that will become 4. But this is saying you can make 2 batches of 2 waters, and this is saying you can make 4 batches of 4 waters. Again, you're always going with a smaller number, right? So here we're only going to end with 2 batches of cookies or 2 waters, right? So which one's limiting and which one's excess? So we're going to use all the oxygen, or our whole egg, so that would be our limiting reagent. And we're going to end up using just 2 cups of flour, or 2 hydrogens, and we're going to have 2 hydrogens left over, so that would be our excess reagent.